Hi everyone, welcome to the Tons anniversary release. Today I'm shooting a video making a card using our new Morning Glory Garden Cling background stamp. Wow, that was a mouthful. Let's get started. I'm gonna ink up my stamp with some Versamark ink, and I'm gonna place my card panel on top of the stamp, and then with the scratch piece of paper I'm going to apply even pressure along the panel to get a good impression. Next, I'm going to spoon some glitter embossing powder over the stamped impression. I'm just using my spoon, which I got from an ice cream shop. Actually, I think it was 40 Carats in Bloomingdale's. These are really great spoons because the embossing powders do not stick to the spoon. So whenever I go, I always get extra spoons. So now that I finished spooning, I'm going to apply some heat to the panel to melt the embossing powder. Make sure you heat your gun for a few seconds before applying it to your panel. This is how the finished panel looks. You can be done with your card here. You can stick this on a card base and just make a set of cards like this, and it would make a really nice gift. But I'm going to take it one step further, and I'm going to do some blending on top of the heat embossed image. I'm going in with some Orchid crushed dye ink, and I'm blending with my mini ink blender, and I'm just going in circular motions. Because the color is so light, I end up just going directly onto the card panel. But with darker colors, what you want to do is probably blend onto your craft mat or an acrylic block, and then blend onto the card panel so that you don't get the harsh lines from your foam. So first I used Orchid Crush to blend in the entire floral. Now I'm going in with Grand Fuchsia, and I'm just going to blend a little bit in the center of the flowers. This will give the Morning Glory some shading, and it's going to give them just a little bit more depth. I'm not blending totally inside the lines, but I'm not worrying too much because I'm going for a dreamy look, and the blending will all blend together at the end, and the end result that you get is not something where you're looking for precision. So after the orchids have been blended in, I'm going to go in with some of my Peach Blossom inks. After the Peach Blossom, I'm going to go in with the Coralline ink, and this is a hybrid ink. These actually blend pretty well together. So I'm taking the Coralline and I just blended the centers of the two Morning Glories. Now that the flowers are finished, I'm going to go in with some Lofty Mint, and I'm going to blend the leaves with this ink. This is one of my favorite minty inks, and it's a really gorgeous ink to stamp with, but also to blend with. Now the embossing powder that I used was a glitter embossing powder, so just a warning or disclaimer. If you're going to be blending with your inks using heat embossed glitter embossing powder, you're gonna get glitter everywhere because some of the glitter is going to come off as you blend. So I did get a little bit of glitter on my ink pads, but it doesn't really bother me because I use glitter for a lot of things, and I just wanted to warn you guys that if this is something that's going to drive you crazy, I would stick to other kinds of embossing powders that don't have glitter in it. Now I'm going in with some vanilla frosted cupcake, and I'm blending this dye ink into the empty or white areas where there weren't any florals or leaves. There's also a tiny open white solid area inside the heat embossed solid Morning Glory. So what I did was I took my ink blending tool that I had used for the Grand Fuchsia, and I just took it and I kind of went over that white area because I just used whatever residue of ink that was left on the blending tool. I didn't go in and ink it up again. Next, I'm going to trim the sides of my card panel about 1/8 of an inch on the top and bottom, and then I'm going to adhere the panel onto a top folding A2 size black card base. Next, I'm going to trim a piece of cardstock to stamp our sentiment on. I'm using a sentiment from our new Timeless Icons sentiment set. It's a 4x6 set, and it's filled with quotes from Coco Chanel and Audrey Hepburn. If you're unfamiliar with my line of stamps, you'll see that a lot of my designs are inspired by Couture, and I just love Chanel and Audrey Hepburn. I think they are the epitome of grace and they really embody what my vision for the ton is. So now that the sentiment is all set, which I stamped in Grand Fuchsia on the white cardstock, I'm going to trim it down just a little bit more, and I want to offset it on a similar piece of cardstock, but only this time I'm going to use a dark pink. It almost matches the Grand Fuchsia. So this is going to be cut just a little larger than the white cardstock, and I'm going to offset it as I adhere them on top of one another. Next, I'm going to add some dimensional foam tape behind the sentiment strip and pop it up on my blended card panel. I was very happy with the color palette that I chose for this card, the orchids and the peach blossoms. I thought that they came very well together, and then with the little hint of mint in the background and a little bit of the yellow, I think that it all came together very nicely. A card is not finished unless you have some sequins to add just a little bit more fun dimension to it. So I'm using 3 colors from our gilding line called Princess Pink, Sittin' Pretty Pink, and My Tutus. They're just 3 different shades of pink, and I'm using 6mm and 4mm sizes. So after the sequins are done, the card is now finished. It wasn't a very labor-intensive card. It was actually pretty easy, and I love the way it turned out, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you'll return for the rest of the week to see all the fabulous new products that we are going to be releasing this week. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day. Bye.